What's going on, everybody? Hey,
Hey, what's going on?
good to see everyone. Sensei Klaus, Andra.
I think you're muted.
Oh, am I muted? All right. Oh, nice. Old and new faces here. This is great. Everybody, so I'm Jan, and I am part of the Justice for Hire team. And this is our Hero Meetup 19. And all these are always recorded. We always put them online so people can watch them later. Please be cool with that. And welcome to a show we're producing together as a community, a cinematic universe that we're building where you can play your own hero, your own villain. And we also have something called clients as well that are kind of a little more passive, but they're kind of like writers and they're writing stories. And so we'll get into all that today. But welcome. This is awesome. This is our first meetup, our big New York shoot that just finished up a week ago. And we have a Comic-Con event coming up this week. So this is a pretty important meetup. And EQ, what's going on? Guru. Look at this. We got Death Death Hog here. What's going on for here? It's so good to see you. So once again, I'm Jan, and we do our best to be as open and transparent as possible in this production process, because what we're doing has really never been done before. And the fact that we've been doing it for 2 years and slowly building, it has been wonderful. And so, and then, going viral on TikTok and all this other stuff earlier this year has added a lot to the momentum, plus a bunch of awards that we've been winning. So this is just really great. So that being said, if you want to see like the actual app that we're using to centralize our community, you can go to justiceforhire.app right now. And that is where you can create your own character, set up your profile. And we always recommend jumping in there and doing that. If you're on your phone right now, it might be a little bit more complicated, but just keep in mind justiceforhire.app, and you can go there, afterward, or pretty much any time. All of our social links there, and you can find it through our website as well. I'm actually going to go on there myself. But first of all, like if anyone who's new, if you have a profile on your on the account already, and we may never have met before. I'm Jan, in character and out of character, and we always differentiate in character and out of character. Out of character, I'm a producer. I'm with Real World. Andra's on the team as well. Autumn's on the team, Sensei's on the team. We have a guru. We're building a studio that makes films and shows with the world. So like through social media, except we're actually producing shows and stories together. So that's out of character. In character, I also play Jan in the series of Justice for Hire. And I'm the founder of the Justice for Hire app that's like Uber for heroes. So that's part of the series. And in real life and in the series, I'm a martial artist. So it's a huge part of my life. So that being said, I have a character that is very much based on my real life, but also fictionalizes a bunch of stuff. And then we have folks who are really just go all out, and they have full costumes, and they make their own costumes. And they have like all these gadgets, and so I'm like a plainclothes hero. I got a Power Rangers t-shirt on right now. So that being said, you can do anything in between. It's really up to you, as long as you follow the universe rules. Like we don't really have any like superpowers in the universe. It's very, very grounded. Kind of think of like Batman's world without all the Justice League. So, but it's still a cinematic universe and a shared universe. So that being said, today what we're going to cover is what's happening for the rest of the year. And what's happening for the rest of the year leading up to our second season. And EQ and a few other heroes have been on these meetups where they've seen, where we've talked about our second season and third season, which is really important for us as a community to be able to have these conversations, because that's the kind of thinking that's going to make us as big as or bigger than in scale the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's going to be community thinking along those lines of saying, hey, I'm going to be able to do this in a few years. This is a multi-year experience. But there's the very tangible series that we've actually shot, that's completely shot, that is being edited right now. We have 4 episodes out that we call our starter pack. Anyone can watch it right now on the app, on Instagram, on YouTube. They're everywhere, and they really just kind of give anyone and everyone a sense of how the universe works and how the app works and how it unites us as a heroes culture, as a community of heroes working together. So you can collaborate with friends. What's going on, Gabrielle? Thanks for joining us. You can collaborate with friends. You can meet new people on here and create stories together. Again, starring in your own narratives that tie into a larger cinematic universe narrative. So like there's your story, and then there's the mega narrative, which is the story that brings all of us together. So you'll see a lot of that, parts of that touched on the 4 episodes we put out. But you'll also see, if you go on the app right now, again, justiceforhire.app, there is a bunch of content created from the community that's there right now. So the way that people are going to get involved in episodes, we just finished shooting the Enter the Cowboy event. And Enter the Cowboy's played by UFC fighter Brendan Weaver. So he's running around with a cowboy hat. The concept is that that our community of heroes, again, JFH is like Uber for heroes in the story. It's like Uber for heroes. You can hire a hero or become one and get paid. And so in that storyline, and where in the timeline of our narrative universe, this first episode that we just shot in New York, and we also shot the last episode of the season, even though we have a bunch of episodes in between that are already shot. The cowboy is essentially hunting heroes. He's testing them and kind of messing up their missions. And that means that there's an opportunity there, like just in that concept. And we went over this in the last Hero Meetup, for you to integrate your story. And every episode will have at least one component like this, where as a community, people can integrate their story with another character, or with it by connecting themselves to a character or an event, and you could just shoot it on your phone. We have a few folks that have already completed the Enter the Cowboy mission, which again is on the app in the mission section, which is that center button where you see hire a hero or become one, the little yin yang. You press that and it'll take you right there. And you can complete that mission yourself as well. And there's instructions on how to do so in the app as well. So it kind of guides you through guides with quotes around it, because it's really about your creativity and whatever you want to bring to it. So every episode is going to have missions that you can complete. And we have missions and challenges. Like this coming week, we have Comic-Con. Comic-Con is if you're not already aware, I'm sure pretty much all of you are, but just in case, Comic-Con is San Diego Comic-Con is the biggest pop culture event in of its kind. And this year it's Comic-Con at home, and we're doing the superhero kung fu extravaganza, which normally kicks off Comic-Con on a Thursday night. It'll still be this Thursday. And we're doing it online, and we have a challenge that's here for all of the community. And the superhero kung fu extravaganza is very action centric, so you can create your own action scene. And the host of that event, who is the world's foremost martial arts cinema historian, is going to be looking at those videos, and will invite a few creators of those action scenes onto the panel, the Superhero Kung Fu Extravaganza panel, to be amongst some other iconic action film stars. And they're going to count down the best action scenes in history. So that's happening this week on Thursday. What's going on, Ryan?
And hey man, how you doing?
It's good to see you, man. And so that's going to be, it's little opportunities like this we're doing all the time. And what we're really doing as a community, and this is just I'm going on a little tangent here because I want to for the new folks, just kind of let you guys know what we've been doing. Like Guru, for example, Guru Merkaba shot an amazing video for a campaign we just worked on with Wash the Hate, and Wash the Hate, it has been creating content to help push the narrative of anti-Asian hate. For us standing together in solidarity with the Asian American community amidst all these horrible things that have been happening. And so they called upon us and said, hey, can you activate the Justice for Hire community and create content that really shows people standing up and standing together? And Guru Merkaba made an amazing action scene to that theme. And when we did an event with Warner Media's Action Showcase, Urban Action Showcase, and so Guru came on and talked about and with a few other members of the community, and talked about some of the content they created for this Wash the Hate campaign. So perks like this, opportunities like this are constantly a part of what we're doing as a community, because it's really about you and your these wonderful studios in our pockets, these phones. We can create stories and share them together that just haven't necessarily been framed or been placed and united together in the way that we're doing for the Justice for Hire community, or with Real World, the larger social film studio. We are making movies and shows together. That is the future of all media. And we want to make sure that our community, which is the first community to really do this, is in the know of how many opportunities there are to do things that normally would just, they have so many layers of red tape to them. We're cutting through so much of that just because we're looking at it differently. We're looking at the industry differently. And we're saying, hey, anybody can have an awesome story. And as long as we put it together into the larger narrative, it's going to have impact. And so, and that's not taking away from anyone's talent, the ability to actually come to the table and shoot something even on your phone, and you can just press record, still requires focus and creativity. And that's something that Guru has shown, and that's something that other members of our community have shown as well. So that said, there's going to be lots more opportunities if you don't participate in the one that's coming up for Comic-Con this week. But that is a consistent theme in our community. There's always going to be opportunities to work with the world's biggest brands, et cetera, and for wonderful real life community impact. That's something we really, really care about, is to make sure that our creativity actually makes the world a better place, and that what we're working on in terms of building our characters actually helps us to be the best versions of ourselves. So that's pure mission statement for what we're doing out of character. In character, we're an ass-kicking community of Uber for hire kind of heroes. But just to give you clarity on what's happening on the app, missions and challenges are really the two pieces of content that you can create. So missions are very much focused on how your story ties into the larger story. So with our Enter the Cowboy event that's on your app right now, justiceforhire.app, you can complete that mission. And anybody who completes that mission, we're still in the post-production process for episode 1 of the main storyline. So there were opportunities to be on set in that. Gabrielle, I see that if you have a question too, just raise your hand, and please, love to chat. Don't want it to be one-sided. So I'm going to look through some of the comments here. I need a character too. I'm not sure what yet. Gabrielle, that's totally fine.
My name is Gabriel.
Oh, Gabriel. Okay, wonderful. How you doing? Welcome.
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us today. And
of course, this seemed pretty cool.
Let's see. You have a couple of superhero role-playing characters. Okay, that's great. Whether you have an old character that you want to cross over into JFH, or you have a new character, that you own your character. And that's another major component of what we're doing as a community. You own all rights to your character, which is unheard of in terms of major studio productions. When we have other partners and we're doing other projects, those rules will change per project. But with JFH, we're very, very focused on making sure that you have full ownership of your character, and that what we have, and I'm speaking out of character as Real World, and as a producer, you're essentially giving us a non-exclusive license to your character to build the story world together. So you own the exclusive rights to your character, and this is industry speak that we want our community to be really, really good at. It's a non-exclusive license. And so what that essentially means, and we call it a brick in the bridge. If we're all building a bridge somewhere together, if one person were, after the bridge is complete, pull out that bridge, it really makes it weaker, and potentially the whole thing could fall apart. So the non-exclusive license for us allows us to know that your story, what the parts that you've contributed with your character to the greater narrative, that years down the line, again, just like a cinematic universe, just like Marvel, for example, we might reference that story years later. And also, and someone else, may not be us, it might be another community member, may see something that you made like now in a few years, and they may say, oh, this inspires me. And then they may talk about your character. They may reach out to you to collaborate on something. Again, we're building an ecosystem for this type of creativity that is truly interconnected. So, but that being said, you can use the JFH platform to refine and build your character in new ways, and then just, stop contributing to JFH, go off and then go make your own show. That's on you, and you own all the rights. And, and if we can be helpful at any given time in helping you set up those types of deals, we will be. But again, it's 100% your ownership. I'm sorry. Oh, Jordan is also new. Jordan, would love to hear from you too. And like I said, everybody, please, and we'll open up the conversation more to some of the more foundational heroes that are here as well. But would love to hear how you found us, and if you have any questions.
Found the Meetup.
Oh, Jordan, there you are.
Yeah.
It's good to see you. Silhouetted.
I found you on Meetup.
YouTube, nice, awesome.
Meetup.
On Meetup?
Meetup. I found you on Meetup.
Awesome. Okay, great. Oh, that's, then it's worth it. If one person comes from Meetup, it is worth it. So that's great. Thank you for joining us, man. Do you have any questions about character creation, etc.? And I'm sure other heroes on here can be helpful in answering some of those as well.
Not really, not at the moment.
Okay, cool. Well, at any given time, feel free to either wave like this or press the raise hand button, or just write something in the comments, and we'll respond right away as soon as we see it. So Pierre. Oh yeah, that's right. Sensei Claus. So Sensei Sensei Claus he's here, and you'll see his little icon down there. But he and a few other major heroes came from Meetup as well. Vintage, no, not Vintage. Was it Vintage? No, Vintage came from Instagram. Someone has the hand up. Pierre, what's going on? Death Mare in character. You're muted though. You might be frozen. Well, no, he's back. There we go.
Yeah, the mute's off. I was actually out of action for a while because I was working at the time being.
Well, we missed you.
I know you did.
Huge inspiration to the community, man.
Thank you. I'm glad to be that. I did have a little question because this has been pondering me for a while. Can villains make a challenge on the app if that is possible? I never seen someone done that before. I would love to see it. I just wonder if that is possible.
That's a great question. And it forces me to finish what I was saying in terms of the clarification between missions and challenges. So missions are about the larger story and how your story connects to the larger story. Challenges are really about your story and your world. So if someone who wanted to just build their character on Justice for Hire and utilize our tools to just refine your own sense of singular storytelling, the solo story for you and your world, that doesn't necessarily tie into the larger universe, you would really do that on the challenges section. And right now, there is no challenge. We just launched challenges last week, like exactly a week ago, maybe a week and a day ago. So, the challenges is very, very new on the app. And it's something we've worked on for years, but it just went live. So, and it went live with the Superhero Kung Fu Extravaganza Challenge, which is the Comic-Con event that's coming up this week. So anybody can join into that. but it is not something where it's a content where people can create challenges yet. We have been having these conversations, but you can create missions. So a hero, a villain, or a client can create a mission for another hero, villain, or client to take, for another hero or villain to take on. Clients don't necessarily, if you want to just be passive in the JFH app and just kind of be an audience member, client is really the best role. And then if you feel like you may want to influence the story a bit, you can create a mission, and then other characters can take on that mission and do what you say needs to be done in character. But heroes can also create missions, and villains, no one knows who's a villain yet on the app. So that's like a really, really important story point for the series, is that from in character right now, everyone is considered a hero that's on the app or a client. And so again, the clients point the heroes to the problems of the world, and the heroes go and solve those problems. So, and there's heroism involved in both of those roles, because to have the eyes and ears in the community to see what's going on, again, I'm speaking in character, then that is a very, very particular, very strong trait. And so clients are wonderful. Heroes take on those missions, and from an out of character standpoint, that means that you pick up your phone and you shoot a video response to someone else's. Someone may say, "Hey, get my cat out of a tree," and then you're like, "Okay, here's me getting a cat out of the tree." And of course, we'd have disclaimers saying, "Please be careful if you're getting a cat out of a tree. Don't climb up too high." But but it also could be something much more epic, like there's human trafficking happening on this boat over here. I'll go take them down. They're like, it could be anything, so it's up to your creative. So Pierre, I hope I answered your question. You can create missions. Anyone can create them, and anyone can and heroes and villains can take them on. There will be a point in the story where we reveal who the villains are, and it'll be a pretty big deal, and that'll happen. It may happen toward the end of season 1. So like we have a season 1 chart. We're actually going to put out a season 1 video in terms of listing out every single episode and every single story point that you can contribute to with your character. And then the final episodes that go out may have like some of your footage locked into the actual premiered episode. And like that's just one level of participation. We just had a shoot with like Creator, who's on the Sensei Claus was in the New York shoots. Creator was in the New York shoot. Creator came from the community, from TikTok. Like Sensei Claus came from Meetup. So when we're actually on set in production, there's also opportunities to be on set as well. And so it just, but if you miss that, or you're in another state, most of the time, and we're going to go on tour next year, so we'll talk about that. But that's for season 2. So we will be traveling around like many states next year. But for now, like season 1 is done, and from a physical production standpoint, and then anyone can submit to that via missions and challenges. But you can create missions, Pierre. And
Perfect.
And we have a question from Gabriel.
Yeah. So I was wondering if there's like a wiki or something where we can see like all the information about like the heroes that are already like in this universe, just to kind of like get an idea of like what fits and stuff.
So there is a wiki for the comic book. The Justice for Hire is actually based on a comic book series, and but loosely based. Like what we're doing is actually a complete reboot of that concept. If I were to clarify what I mean by that, is that the comic book was written for a pre-app brick and mortar world, and Justice for Hire now is for an app world, for a digitally connected, digitally native world. So there's just two different modes of thinking there. So there's a wiki for the comic book series and all the content associated with that. Not for what we're doing yet. I'm hoping a fan comes up and says like, "Hey, I'm just gonna start creating a wiki." That'd be super dope. Oh, I'm gonna mute for you. You want to tell her about the rules and the universe? Mute it.
So actually in the app, it's pretty cool. When you go to the watch page, under each video, you can actually click, it's called a universe button, and you can see everyone who's in that. I personally feel like that's the way that I love to learn about each character in the episode. Go look at their profile, see their backstory, see the challenges and missions that they've created. And that's how I've kind of gotten to know all the characters in the universe.
You're on mute, buddy, sir.
Thank you. You know, it's too bad because I just said some profound stuff and I don't remember. Kidding. So what I was saying was that when you enter the app, you're placed on the world page, and the world page will show you all the cast members like right away. So literally, our now worldwide, because of TikTok, like the viral TikTok episode, like we now have folks like literally worldwide. But you know, up till February, it was essentially just nationwide. And we're still like heavy, like U.S. narrative centric, just in terms of practicality for us being able to produce this series together. So you'll be able to scroll and see everybody who's in the universe, and everyone has a profile. So you'll be able to click on a profile, and you know, some profiles are more robust than others. Again, we just hit the true what's called MVP status, like for our app, which essentially means that the app is essentially like complete, and it wasn't complete before last week. Like we've had different sections of the app live, and then you have to kind of wait until, like, we do community test sessions every Wednesday, which are open to all. You can sign up for them on the app, and like you see what's going to happen next in the app. Sensei Claus is on there. Guru Merkaba's on there. Is that Jay Edward? It looks like Jay Edward. What's going on, man? So good to see you. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, I will jump in there. Let's go WPZYTV. Well, hey, happy for you to join us as well. I think this is I think our first time seeing you. So welcome to Justice for Hire. I'm Jan. You know, it's great to great to see you. How'd you hear about us?
A lot of your stuff came up on my feed. I've been like promoting all through social media about the martial culture and the love of martial arts. So it's like Instagram and TikTok have definitely like been feeding me a lot of, like, you know, guys that relate to where I'm going. So your page showed up with a lot of your fight scenes, and you know, that was like where I'm aiming at anyway, is to get into the stuntman, maybe start there first, and you know, work my way up to, you know, action hero, you know, stuff like that. I would love to play a bad guy, but yeah. And then you guys showed up. It was, I can't remember what movie it was, but it was a scene that had you in it. And then like, all I know is you were running at first, and the guy knocked you down a certain way. You did a front roll, or you did some kind of roll and went into a fly kick to knock the other guy down. So I just thought that was
okay. Thank you. That's very old Justice for Hire content. Yeah, that's I actually came out of college with Justice for Hire as like a concept. So that's from like my senior thesis film at film school. But yeah, that's old stuff. Thank you.
That was one of the first things that popped up, and then it like split into like a kind of a commercial of you telling them a little bit about where you was and where you started and where you are now. So then I've started following, and then more and more your stuff started to show up. So I just got intrigued when I saw the commercial about saying that for people to recruit. I was down. I've been looking for this.
Oh man, well thank you so much for being here. And if I'll say that if you are in the martial arts world and you really are looking to connect more with the stuntman and action hero, like, you know, just that whole culture, We have the superhero Kung Fu Extravaganza Challenge that's live right now on the app at justiceforhire.app. And that event takes place this Thursday, and it kicks off Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con.
Oh.
So if you want to submit for that, we're actually going to push. This is actually one of the big notes for today. We're pushing the submission deadline from Monday to Wednesday. So the submission deadline was supposed to be Monday. I know Guru just shot his yesterday. I think Sensei's working on something, and Tai Chi Wonder, we spoke to him yesterday. So we're pushing that deadline to Wednesday. We'll make an official announcement later on today. But people like our press release is like going out Monday, so it makes no sense. so hopefully you can submit to that, and the people who submit to that, many of them will be featured on the panel for the Superhero Kung Fu Extravaganza alongside a bunch of like iconic martial arts action stars. And it's hosted by Rick Myers, who is the foremost martial arts cinema historian in the world. And this is, as we were saying earlier, this is just like, we do stuff like this all the time as a community. So if you want to participate in that, that's there for you.
But you saying to participate, I submit an action video?
Yeah, you just take the camera and you just shoot yourself doing something cool. And like, like there's if you go onto our page right now, you'll see the challenge. You look, whether Instagram, YouTube, if you go to the app and press the challenges, that's right at the top of the challenge. That's probably the best place to do it because that's where you would submit. But you'll see a video that just describes literally everything that you can do. An action scene, you can do a martial arts lifestyle scene to showcase how, I'm doing an example of holding a pizza and kicking open a door. You can do anything of how martial arts is relevant and meaningful in your life. And like Rick himself has expressed the most interest in seeing like the authenticity rather than like the spectacle. Rick is a very he's very much like the wise old master with the long white beard. So he's really looking for those martial artists who are very giving the truth through their movement. So I would love to. I think we'd all love to see something from you as well. And then that means you too, J. Edward, with your action scene prowess. Jay, how have you been, man? Seems like he's attempting to unmute. There we go.
Yeah, how are you? Hi, everybody. I'm all right. I'm surviving.
So I'm hoping everything is. Are you still in Florida? You're in. Moving?
Yeah, no, I'm in Florida.
Okay.
I'm still working on this this day by day,
Well, man, we love having you in the community, man, and all the good energy you bring. So we're always here as much as we can be, and please, always reach out even on a personal note. Very, very grateful for you and all that you contribute.
Great, thank you.
If anyone, I'd love to hear Sensei, if you're available to chat, to go on for a second. I'd love for you to kind of just, if you could talk about some of your experience in the community so far for those who have who are new, and I'd love to saying that my internet connection is unstable, so I'm hoping you guys can actually even hear me. But yeah, I'd love for Sensei and Guru to chat a little bit about their experience so far, so those who are new to the community can get a sense of what to expect as well. Sensei or Guru, if you'd like to go first, or even EQ, who I know he's been prepping a story for a while. Oh, there's Guru.
Hey, what's up? How's it going? Yeah, good to see all of you. Like, it's nice to be here. Yeah, I'm a little sore today. like you were saying, Jenna, I was just in my team for the But no, my experience has been really fun, really great. Like I found JFH on TikTok, and I mean, much like WPZ, I was feeling the same, like, oh, I've been looking for this, and so like I just decided to dive right in, and like, I wanted to really create a concept. If I was gonna do something, I wasn't gonna just give 70 or 80%. I was gonna try and go at least 200%. So that's what I've been doing. So I mean, it's been a really cool experience writing my own stuff, writing my own scenes, working with the stuntmen and the urban ninja action team. Stuntmen that have been like crucial to my scenes and whatnot. So I mean, that's been really cool, and I've been really excited about taking the kind of like phone style vlogging aspect to it as well, to really accentuate the app and its usage and whatnot. But yeah, no, I know I chatted with Jan a little bit ago about creating episodes with JFH being brought in, all sorts of things surrounding that. So it's like anybody that wants to like really get into it and really like put themselves out there, it's a welcoming environment, and like everybody's amazing to work with. I've yet to actually be a part of one of the main episodes and like work with everybody on set and see, because that is really exciting. And like I know creator who is actually the face of the flyer for this was at one, and just kind of seeing the videos and the pictures and stuff from that like warm my heart and excites me at the same time. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, man. All that means a lot, and I think that you bring up a great point of essentially, you're sore having shot your own action scene for this upcoming challenge, but you're also the concept of what we're doing through the app and as a community. It's really kind of like you're in your own movie. And then you combine with the Avengers, which is through the app. When we do these larger shoots, and when we, you can do team ups that are kind of like, two crossover characters, two shows, let's say Falcon and Winter Soldier. So you have the solo stories, you have the team up stories, and then you have the larger Avengers narrative, and that's kind of what we're doing, except on a in our own way, very much, and again, very grounded in reality based action, and while still being superhero, having some of the superhero undertones. So thank you, man, for highlighting that. And Sensei, look, we got a video from Sensei.
Hey, yeah. So I got a lot going on over here, so I was had the camera off. So anyways, yeah, with the whole process, I came from Meetup too a few years ago. I used to spend a lot of my time on Meetup just looking at whatever the most out of the box thing I could find was. And this was a top 5. New York is pretty odd sometimes. So yeah, I wound up coming, and I got interested in this whole kind of crowdsourced action cinema thing. Before even the superhero bit came into play, I liked the idea of bringing in all these people who have a degree of skill, a degree of proficiency, but don't necessarily have a connection to what you might call the cinema industry. And another thing that always kind of struck me is a lot of guys who are very good at real action aren't so good at movie action, and vice versa. So I always thought that this kind of thing, among other functions, could be really interesting bridge. And to an extent, it has been. I mean, there's still a lot to be done, of course, anyone can tell you that. But I've met some good friends doing this, and I've gotten to know friends I already had in different ways, because sometimes a friendship is largely about the context. You meet someone different place, you see a different side of them, and that's always interesting. So Yeah, I've got to set my action thing up probably tomorrow morning before the rain starts. And yeah, if you haven't seen Gurus, it's live. There's a lot of good action stuff that's out to do with the app. I mean, there's always good action if you know where to look for it. But if you haven't seen the show, it's a pretty quick watch. And, it's catchy. You'll probably like it. And yeah, if you're going into this action thing, I would say check out some of Rick's stuff. He's got so much. He's got books, documentaries, podcasts. It's one of those weird things where, the blue car effect. After I met Rick in person like 2-3 years ago now, I started seeing him cropping up in credits and things just all over the place. So once you see him, you don't stop seeing him, is what I'm saying.
I highly.
Anyways, yeah, who's next?
The Amazon Films of Fury documentary is actually amazing, so I highly recommend that. Thank you for sharing that, Sensei. Guru, see you.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to add something that you had mentioned before, but like I wanted to reiterate again, Jan, of for anybody that really wants to be in it, like there is stuff and things in place in order for you to build, like you said, a short film about your hero. So if you feel, nervous or apprehensive in any sort of way for like, I don't know, I'm not the best writer, I can't, or I don't feel as creative, because sometimes we all feel that way. I know I do. And so like, there are things there that are in place to, help you through, figuring out your setting, figuring out your story. There are other heroes here that, like Sensei Klaus even said or put in the chat, he's great at action, and he's there if anybody needs to see for stunts. Like we're all here in our own way. You need help creatively, writing ideas that are like, yeah, reach out, because as I mentioned before, it's a very welcoming.
Thank you for saying that, man, because that brings up another good point. Like Sensei Claus, like and every time I say his name, I smile because it's such a hilarious concept. He's got his own martial arts system as if he was from the North Pole. Like it's really like out there character, but it's hilarious and it's a wonderful counterbalance. So a wonderful counterbalance to I don't know where this comes from. Okay, it's a wonderful counterbalance to some of the grittier action, and even narratives that we can have at times, especially when we focus on some real world challenges as well. So Sensei Claus brings an air of lightness to what we're doing, which is awesome. But also that he also made an offer to the community to help with character. And like it's if you go into the challenges section, which is new now. Actually, I have my app open, so like I'm on the world page right now, and right here this top carousel, you see like, hey, we're at Hero Meetup right now, like, so you can RSVP to stuff. This is the Cowboy Challenge for the first episode, and this is actually going to stay open. But if you go to the challenges section, which is this little hero with a cape icon, even though I haven't seen anybody. I could be wrong, but Sensei put out a wonderful challenge to just help folks, with their creativity, with their character development and action, etc. And he did this like a year and a half ago. So we've been doing this for a while, and we just launched the section of the app where all these challenges that we've been doing as a community are now centralized. So it's taken us a while to build out, but we are here, and it just keeps on rising. So any people can offer. You can offer your skill to the community. Creator offered the ability, who's the face of this meetup, the poster for this meetup. Creator built that outfit he's wearing, and then he's in a fight scene with a UFC fighter in that outfit with his shield. which is not in the picture. And so, and you know, when I say fight scene, obviously, like we do this on set, like we bring the utmost level of professionalism to doing this. So we would never, you know, like tell you to go shoot a fight scene per se without those concepts in place. But what I'm getting at is that the ability for you to meet people who have expertise in the community and collaborate with them to elevate what you're doing is something, and also for you to be able to offer your expertise to those in the community for you. And so that's a major component of what we're doing. And so thank you, Guru, for reminding me about Sensei's wonderful offer that you can see in the app right now on the challenges section. And EQ, we haven't heard from you, man. How you doing? Oh, okay. He said he was going to pop it for a little, but when he's here, but I know that his video went on for a second and then went off. Okay. So you know, besides myself, we have our. Sorry, did someone say something? Is that EQ? I think that's EQ, but having a connection challenge. So from the real world side as well, they're also in the Justice for Hire series. We have AK Wonder, aka Autumn, and we have Andra, aka Andra, who's out of character our CTO, who built the app with her fingers and her hands and her mind. And in character, she's on the you know, it's her and Tommy in the Justice for Hire show. You'll see Tommy. Well, actually, we need to do a post on Tommy because he's we just have to do that. But her and Tommy as cast members in the show, in character, build the Justice for Hire app. So in character and out of character, there's some parallels here. So you know, I'm joined by them. And you know, would love to hear any input from them on you know, for the new heroes, etc. And I will mute myself because we're all in the same like space. So here we go. I'm just muting my.
Hi. So it's great to see. I mean, I'm all the time since we were live, and now the app is. We consider it full MVP. It's amazing to see how profiles are coming in and to see people joining. I'm just interested into making sure that the app is the tool that you need to express your creativity. And if there's anything in particular that you expect from it, or you need to be clarified, of course. I love the angle of the series. It's one thing to understand that there's characters joining the platform and they also get to play their roles. So when we shot in New York these past weeks with me and Tommy, it was great. And I saw that there's another subject that it's being tackled with the collaboration between the culture of tech in the world now, the collaboration between female and male characters. So that's a great angle that I love, and I'm super grateful to be playing it. But it took me a while, so I don't know if this is the case for you, to understand that, oh, I don't only create my character, I get to play that character, especially because I'm a tech person. I'm not an actor yet, but this is what I was thinking. This is what I wanted to share, and if you guys have anything along those lines, more than happy to hear it.
I just want to add one thing real quick to that. That's super important. So Andrew just said something that I think is just so important for our community. Because of the nature, because we've changed the way we think about production and it changed the way we think about participation, that means that people are interacting that would normally not interact. And because of that, people are getting relationships they wouldn't normally get, and they're sharing things they wouldn't normally share. And that's amazing because that's a key component of our community. That means like Andra is a technology like luminary. You know, it's like she does amazing stuff, and she's a part of our community, and anyone can reach out to her and learn from her and learn with her and work with her. Guru and Sensei are on the app test team. They are helping to make all this possible with Andra. So like this is this is a community effort. You know, we have you know, top, if you're in the finance world, we have top venture capitalists that are in our cast. You know, they're in our cast. So they come to meetups and you can talk to them and you can collaborate with them because like it's just a totally different way to access like people and resources to do great things together to make a better world. Like top producers, top directors, like all that stuff is in our community right now. You know, and we're all eye to eye. It's not like there's no gates of Hollywood. Like we don't believe in that stuff. Like we are doing things together. Like this is our studio, and we are building together. So I just want to keep like underlining like how awesome it is to even be on this with you guys right now, because like each one of you has your own story and your own unique things to share with the community, and like everyone should have access to everybody like in a heartbeat. You know, so it's a big deal. I just love, I love that she said, I'm not an actor yet. Oh yeah. This is Andra just passed this over to me. So this is her and Angelique Zambrana. And Angelique is playing, this is from the shoot in New York. Angelique, if you watch Law and Order, she's on the season finale of is that SUV?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to share.
And she's in another, I don't think the embargo's up on another big show she's on right now to announce that yet. But essentially, she plays Louisa, which is the only hero that's returning from the comic book. So she's playing a major character, and this is her with the app and Andra. And so it's fun stuff.
What I wanted to share.
I'll unmute myself. You share.
What I wanted to share was that I just watched Law and Order SVU. It's one of my favorite series. And when I saw Angelique and we took the picture, I was like, man, I know her from somewhere. I don't know who she is, but she's in our cast, so it's really cool. And then Jen told me that she's from SVU, and I was like, oh my God, I just watched that episode last week. And now here I am with her, and we're on the same project. And she's like an official actor, a seasoned actor, and has amazing projects. And there she is using the app that I created. So it's like, whoa, my mind was blown. So that's what I wanted to share.
Yes, Angelique is great, and we have AK Wonder on here.
Guru Merkaba had a question.
Oh, Guru. Sure, Guru. What's going? What was the? Will we be rebooting the JFH comics as well with all new heroes? That's a great question. So full disclosure, I just connected with my favorite artist of all time, and comic book artist. His name is Mukesh Singh, and he worked with. I've discovered his art through Virgin Comics, which was Deepak Chopra and his son Gotham and Grant Morrison and Sir Richard Branson got together and like made a comic book publishing company back in 2006. I was at Comic-Con with my dad pitching the Justice for Hire comic to Image and Dark Horse, so it was a whole thing. But anyway, like Mukesh was their launch. I mentioned that because they prompted us to launch our own publishing company, which is how we started all of our comics, etc. But Mukesh was their lead artist, and I just connected with him a couple days ago. So I'm hoping to bring him onto the project. I can't there's nothing is official at all. But at the very least, I think we need a great artist to do, poster art for the series with the community, kind of taking all of our heroes and creating these awesome, big, beautiful, community-centric posters. And so the one person who I had at the top of my list to do that is Mukesh. So I'm hoping that works out. But that's a great question on the comic side. And I'll say that the speed at which we can produce together via the phone versus the 60 to 90-day turnaround time of a single comic book that is funded. That meaning that there is that no one that people are very, very focused on producing that comic, and they're not taking, you know, extra time because they're working on other stuff, etc. When we find out how to balance out those two production schedules, I definitely see us bringing comics back into it. But a few other community members have asked about the comic book series, or about creating their own comic book series kind of connected to their character and building out and like a, you know, in parallel. And just from a production standpoint, I think that we just need to figure out a little bit more of how our ecosystem works before we start adding components like that may just take longer. That's not to say and you know, our stuff could take longer too. Well, we're still so much in the beginning of our even though we're 2 years in of this process, to add too many components yet. So if you're working on a comic book independently, or anyone else is, that's awesome and that's amazing. And potentially that is backstory or complementary story to your character. And if you are working on that, you know, we should figure out a way to integrate that into your narrative and to point people to your those materials, because that's awesome and amazing. But right now there's no definitive plans of doing so, even though we do have that on, like, there is an old chart that we have that absolutely has comic books and other stuff on there. But yeah, it's not yet, not just yet, but hopefully, I hope so. But I hope that answered the question too. But AK Wonder wanted to jump in, so I'm going to mute myself.
I think heading into this week, my mind is mostly on how can I make the dopest martial arts video that I can. And in like an hour or so after this meetup, I'm gonna hop on a pedal scooter to Whole Foods, and I want to shoot a cool scene, maybe something to do with me on the scooter and jumping off to do something. But you know, I was hoping, you know, if other people are planning a scene or they already shot something, like, I would love to hear like what the community, you know, what some of you guys have shot or are going to shoot, and maybe Jan can kind of share some tips on how I can do this, like, in, you know, 3 shots in the kind of most efficient but coolest way possible. So I'd love to open it up and hear if anyone else has anything in mind or has made some cool content for that challenge.
Point the app at the screen too. This is the challenge where it says calling all martial artists. Notice that it's on that's the challenge button, the little superhero, and it's right in the center tab where it says training, and you'll also find it from the world page as well. It'll give you all the direction on there, but you know, you can do it in one shot, and the cool thing about one shots is that it lends itself to the story. Like the app in character, you're supposed to be shooting a lot of missions in the Justice for Hire universe require the hero to film themselves. So to film themselves doing the act of heroism, and you're not going to be cutting, you know, yourself while you're doing something. So essentially one shot actually makes total sense for so many of these scenes, and therefore it is canonical. You know, we can use it in the storyline to in a wonderful way. It's actually like, sometimes it's actually best if you shoot things in one shot. That being said, you know, if you want to do something more sophisticated, I think there's kind of a range. You know, like every story is a beginning, middle, and end. You know, that's 3-act structure. So you could have a beginning shot, middle shot, and end shot, and maybe do your thing in 3 shots. You know, simultaneously you could do, you know, so someone like J. Edward down here, AKA Justice. I like that. See his name changed on the bottom to it's Justin Garcia, AKA Justice. You gotta say that in the Batman voice. But you know, he's like a professional filmmaker. You know, look, like he's got his whole setup is behind him, like right now. So you know, like he may want to do, you know, something that's really, really specific and real, you know, from an auteur perspective, and that's totally welcome as well. So whether it's one shot or it's a dynamic short film that you want to shoot, and everything in between is totally acceptable and encouraged. It's really about like your heart, you know, like whether it's one shot or 30, your heart is what's going to be felt, and you know, more so than anything else, we're doing this so that people can feel each other and see each other. So you know, do whatever feels right for your story. But that sounds cool. I like the idea of a scooter experience. Oh, EQ's here too. EQ, what's going on, man? You got the video back. Hopefully we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute. How's my connection now?
Oh, perfect.
Am I loud? Okay, good. What's up, everybody?
Good to
Hi.
see you.
I never get to do these things, so it's nice to finally get to be here. I'm always working, man. The life of a cook, you know?
Oh man, I didn't know you were a cook. I know you.
Yeah.
Taco challenge though we have on on the app.
Oh,
The tacos.
okay. I have to tell a funny story about that. So I went to Cozumel, Mexico with my family. We went on a vacation, and that was just a little video I made just for my personal like Facebooks and stuff. And while like it was early on into me being part of Justice for Hire, so I thought I'll just send it to the cast. And I sent that, and like the next day I'm scrolling through there and I saw you had added it to the page. Oh my God, I laughed my ass off. It's like, of course, I sent so little video that of course I should never have sent the taco eating video to Jan, because of course it was going to get posted. It made sense that you had a guy doing backflips and a guy doing kicks, and then it cuts to me just eating tacos in Mexico.
That's training though. You know, like
it worked.
If you don't eat 45 minutes after your training session, you know, you're not going to get the optimization of the nutrition.
That is true.
That's true.
That is true. You got to keep your nutrition up. You got to keep your proteins and all that good stuff. You got to keep your body healthy. Oh my goodness. Well, let me think. What can I add to this conversation? Because you guys, man, I've been listening since y'all started. Y'all have been talking about some really good stuff and making really good points.
I'd like to say one thing about the conversation you have had, and stop me if this is a spoiler, but I know that you've been considering changing your hero name.
Just getting into
yes.
this with you guys.
That's like a big deal. And it's a big deal because because we've had people in the community in the past change their hero name. And I think it's really important to know that especially historically in comic books, heroes change their hero name. For example, the new Daredevil is Elektra. I'm not sure if anyone knows this.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like
that's true. Daredevil's become a legacy character.
Yeah, and so you know you have I love the name EQ because it reminds me of the Equalizer, and it also reminds me of EQing sound. And so I'm just like, okay, this is a great name. But you know, if you're changing your name, it's great that you've created, you know, even small bits of content as EQ, and then when you change the name, we went from Veil to Code Gray, and he can't be here today because he's got a performance, which I'm hoping to watch a little bit later. Hopefully we can all watch. But that's awesome to see the progress of we're supposed to change as people.
Yeah.
You know? And so like I'm just interested if you could talk a little bit about some of your motivation behind the evolution of the thinking of your character, because I know you and Mouse have a storyline together, and then beyond like getting to a place where you are considering a name change. If you could walk some of the community members through that.
Well, I mean, honestly, it kind of happened naturally while I've been writing the story. I mean, I'm not actually anywhere near done. The story looks more like an outline. Like I have to add dialogue and all that. Anyway, that's the nitty gritty of it. But it kind of happened naturally while I was writing, where I knew, without spoiling anything, I knew that the story I wanted to tell would take Eddie Quinn, which is where EQ comes from, because Eddie Quinn is not a hero. He's a thief. You know, he's a criminal, and just gets on the wrong side of worse criminals, and that's why he's doing what he's doing. But anyway, he's not a hero. And when I came up with the idea, when I first joined this, I said Equalizer in that video kind of as just an ending, and I thought it was a good name. And then I remember that there's been a series and a couple of Denzel Washington movies called The Equalizer, so I couldn't use that, and so I took the letters and just made it his name, so Eddie Quinn. But the whole trying to make an actual hero name, because at the end of the day, or at the end of the series, I should say season, Eddie Quinn is not going to just be a thief. He will be an actual hero. And I want to show that arc of this guy who doesn't care about anybody, even maybe not even himself, and to turn him into somebody that looks out for other people and becomes an actual hero and a watchdog of the community, and somebody that, you know, is trying to make up for some of the terrible things he may have done in the past. And there will be a similar evolution with Mouse's character. I mean, it's the show is going to be about change. I mean, we're doing a corruption storyline where a mob has taken over a town, and Mouse is the actual Justice for Hire character, but he's a hacker, not an in the field guy, and recruits my character to be his in the field guy. And so by the end of the season, hopefully by the end of the season, at the very least, by the time Mouse and Eddie part ways, Mouse will be an in the field vigilante and won't just be delegated to behind the desk. And so for me, the whole, you know, changing names, changing character, I think it's part of any good story. You can't, I mean, unless you're, I don't know, a Chevy Chase movie, you can't end the same way as you started. You know what I mean? Like, you have to change at some point in the story. So if I can make Eddie Quinn go from being an unlikable asshole to somebody you actually root for, and Mouse go from being a sheepish teenager, you know, hiding behind his keyboard, to somebody that actually can get out there and make a difference. That's the story I want to tell. And then, of course, the end, we get to play with, you know, your season 2 villain, which would be just so much fun for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I have to say this now because we couldn't say this 9 days ago, that you've been working on this story, and I highly recommend you go to the challenges section, you press journey, and you can literally shoot. There's 15 journey challenges that essentially truncate the hero's journey model, which is the hero with 1,000 faces from Joseph Campbell. You know, that is the archetypal hero's journey from across the world, you know, that's seen in almost all cultures. So we've taken that, we've broken that down into 15 challenges. And if you go on there right now and like shoot there's so many different ways to use this platform, but if you just want to use it as a notepad for your character, and you can always set the videos to private if you don't want anyone to see them, I would go on there and I would shoot your story as you feel, because it prompts you per step in the narrative, because otherwise you might get into oh, I'm writing a script and I'm doing this, and there are a bunch of layers of expertise and preparation, et cetera, required with that way of doing things. And it's awesome. And it's a great way of doing things. But there's a different way. And that's what we're proposing here on the app. And so if you just went in there and just shot yourself, even talking into camera for each one of those challenges, I'd be interested in how your story for yourself evolves. And I really like this. This is actually now a direct ask. I would be like, EQ, if you could go on there and try that out and let me know how that works out.
I'll take a look at it.
Please do, because like I'd be interested in because I know you and Mouse have put a lot of development time, because from an industry standpoint, that what you guys are doing is just called the development phase. So like you put a lot of quality development time into what you're doing, and our intention is to make the development process and all the way to you getting that out and getting it shot and getting it made and sharing it with the community, to make that time, the space between, shorter, smaller, so that you can go from idea to actual like piece of content faster and maintain quality, if not even improve quality. So I just love to see your story. I don't need to see it. We don't need to see it, but I'd love to get your feedback on how that works for you as somebody who's put a lot of thought into their character.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely take a look at it. Hopefully soon. I mean, I've got a new camera. I was going to film it on my phone, and then I decided, I need a video camera for all my other little side projects anyway. So once my video camera comes in, we are going to start filming, and hopefully once we start filming stuff, I can start putting stuff out, and at least stuff as a tease, because we're not trying to make some Scorsese shit, but I'm if I can pull off even a fraction of what I've got planned, I'm really looking forward to you guys getting to see it, because at the end of the day, I didn't want to write something or film something that I wouldn't want to watch. I want to see something cool, and so if it's something that at the end of the day, the rule of cool applies. It's got to be cool. Oh. And so I can't wait to start actually getting to work. I can't wait to start getting to work and showing y'all what we've got planned, because we've got some really fun stuff planned. Like, I'll give you a slight tease. The crime family is a Norse family. The patriarch of this crime family that runs the section of Texas that my character is going to be in is from Norway. And so Norse mythology runs very clear through this crime, at least through the father. Maybe not the son so much, but it's that I'm going to shut up there. It's going to be really, really fun.
I love that. I love hearing that. That's amazing. And so yeah, please let me know. If you check out that section, just let me know if that helps. And J. Edward, I want to get to you 1 second, but Andre just said something. Can you share what you just said?
Yes. When I heard you sharing EQ, that you're waiting for your camera. That's
please,
super
out of character,
but
you can call me over.
Before it looks, it has to feel, and the feeling, because the image can be like polished after edited and all that, but the feeling that you capture when you first go, and if you use the challenges section as a guide in your character development, you look for the feeling, because every time I scroll for something to watch, it has to feel from the first moments that I played, 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I know I'm gonna be booted out of this project if I say it, but I'm just gonna say it. I downloaded the whole series of Game of Thrones, and when I saw the first 5 seconds, I deleted it instantly. And everyone says, "Are you insane?" And I'm like, but those 5 seconds did not resonate with me. So we're all struggling for perfection, but maturity is progress. Maturity is not perfection. So I would be interested in to see how it feels before you get that fancy camera and shoot it with it, So that was my add-on to what you were sharing.
Well, I have played around with my phone, shooting some like little test stuff. And so I've got an idea of what the feel of to use that term, a little bit of an idea what the feel of it should be. And so now it's honestly the camera upgrade is more of a thing of storage. My phone's kind of a crappy little, it is a smartphone, but it's not the smartest. So it doesn't have that big of a battery and big of a storage space. So it's more of a necessity of storage space than anything else. But the added picture quality will just be a nice plus. I don't want it to look too crystal clear. Like I do want to add a little grit to it. Like I'm telling a very specific flavor of story, and it's I don't want to say that Eddie Quinn might be the black sheep of the Justice for Hire universe, but that is the feel that I'm going for. So like he's not gonna have a home base. When I start my solo series after Eddie and Mouse split, it's gonna try to be like a road show. So that is kind of the feeling I'm going for, is this ugly, gritty black sheep of the family kind of feel. Like, I don't want to be part of the Avengers team. I want to be the Punisher off in the corner sniping bitches while y'all are fighting. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a shooter, but that's what I want. Like, I want Eddie Quinn to be the Rorschach, the Punisher, that is who I want this character to be for the Justice for Hire universe. That's awesome. Including the character he becomes. Because just because he becomes a hero with a mask and a name and a code does not mean I'm not still smashing people through walls.
That's great. Just because I got a mask. Okay, that's great.
Yeah.
Hey, and everyone should know that you don't necessarily need a mask. Like, I don't have a mask as a character.
That's true. That's true. I wasn't going to do one, but I saw something that inspired me and thought that would be freaking awesome. And so now I have to have a mask. I can't help it. I'll give you. I'll let you know. It was Red Guardian and Black Widow inspired. Like, I have to have a mask now because that look with the beard coming out just looked really freaking cool.
Yeah, that's actually he's my favorite part about that, honestly. But I was so.
She's the best part of that whole movie.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm like I could talk all day about that, and I won't do it.
And we will too.
Had with her Game of Thrones blasphemy. So
we will on that other project, which we will talk about soon because I'm still working on that.
Oh yeah.
But I'll get your feedback on that because I think the episode we're gonna try to touch on a few things. But anyway, that's for a different interview. I have to go, but this has been fun.
Love you, man. Thank you so much as usual for being here. It's so awesome to have you as part of the community. So thank you, and please check out the Journey challenges on Justice for Hire that app. So just check it out. Let me know. Let us know.
Will do.
Bye. Bye, man. J. Edward. And also,
yes, I was just gonna say that people can watch a lot of movies. Huh?
I just want to say welcome Latasha as well. She's new. We haven't seen her before, so hi Latasha. Thank you for joining us. And J. Edward, yeah, please go for it.
That people can watch a lot of movies and try to imitate the styles of the filmmakers, but at the end, if you know the rules, once you know the rules, you can break them and you can create your own style. I mean, this industry is a baby. I mean, it's been around for 100 years about, and the filmmaking revolution came about 10 years ago when everybody had access to a camera on their phone and stuff like that. So a lot of things have been recreated, and the drones and all the stuff, the ability of having a phone in your hand and be able to record and make a film with it has changed a lot of things, and it's creating a lot of things and a lot of style. So feel free to play around. And I mean, a lot of the new styles are coming out of errors, mistakes, it's like, oh, what a great accident, to capture on the phone. And then you develop your own style, and then people are copying your style. And that's just how it works. People learn from other people, but you learn from yourself too, from all of the mistakes that you make.
Thank you so much for saying that. Thank you. That's huge. It's a huge thing to say. As a matter of fact, I was thinking yesterday and about a quote, and I'll misquote this. And it's a really interesting story, but it's from the filmmaker Louis Buñuel, and he essentially said, and I was asleep. I was at film school. I was at NYU, so like asleep in front of the dean. The dean was giving a talk, and I was kind of like half passed out. And I'm like asleep in the middle of this talk, and I hear the dean quote Louis Buñuel saying that people don't understand the true light of cinema, and that when that is finally understood, the tool for which cinema is will be shown to the entire world, and essentially like push human evolution. And I've misquoted that, but I remember waking up in the middle of that and asking the guy next to me, I'm like, did you just hear that? And he was like, what? No. And then I raised my hand, the dean repeated it, and he said the quote again. And years later, I asked him what that quote was, and he doesn't even remember. So, but what I'm getting at is that the importance of us looking at this moment in history as the defining moment in cinema history. Everything that's come before, great, wonderful. But there's all these. There's toxicity. There's challenges. There's limited thinking in everything that's come before us. And we now are together with these wonderful studios in our pockets, and we can actually paint the picture of the future today and make it happen today. And to me, that is like, we are just so blessed as to be alive in this time. So like, I'm so grateful for you saying that, Jay, because it's just like, this is we are in a point where you know, as Angel Spit, the wonderful cyberpunk band producing our soundtrack, as they said on our Warner Media event, you know, this is the Wild West, and anything you do is the right thing. You know, like as creators, like don't doubt yourself, go forth and do it, because like the industry can't predict where we're going to go. It hasn't been there. You know, the most modern stuff I'm watching right now is still Charlie Chaplin. You know, Charlie Chaplin stuff is social media ready. If you watch Charlie Chaplin right now, there's text on screen and there is very fast editing, and he gets right to the point, and children to adults can understand it, and it's brilliant. Charlie Chaplin, like go watch The Kid from Charlie Chaplin. Like so, you know, there's so much stuff that was being experimented with in the beginning of cinema history. And you know, it got formalized into these industries where people essentially separated each other. Walls were built. You know, people were leveraged and stolen from, and all of this stuff happened. And now we're at this wonderful point where it's where we can just build something new, and that's exactly what we're doing here today. And that's exactly what the intent is with Real World as a company, as a vision, of us making movies and shows together. And Justice for Hire is our first show that we're making together. So thank you, Jay, for punching me in the face with that wonderful comment. Is it Sensei or Jay?
Hey, yeah. I just said this in the chat too, but Alvin reads. I just wanted to mention, you said Charlie Chaplin. A fun fact is, you know, Jackie Chan is one of the greatest living action directors, if not one of the greatest. And he cites Buster Keaton as one of his main influences. So you never quite know what you're watching.
I need
and,
to.
You know, you can find.
There's two.
Sorry, what?
I need to start putting more time into Buster Keaton, because he was a contemporary of Charlie Chaplin. So I've only seen clips of his stuff. I need to put a lot more time in.
It's a different style. You know, Charlie Chaplin was an honest actor. It's not that Keaton wasn't. But his stuff, you can definitely see why Jackie Chan likes it. There's a lot of destruction and slapstick in it. It's about as close to Jackie Chan as you get with no actual kung fu.
That's a big statement. I may have to watch a Buster Keaton tonight. Is there one that you recommend specifically? I'll just write that down.
Not specifically, because I've been digging through a bit, and I always get drawn into watching these compilations instead of the actual stuff, you know? It's this temptation that YouTube kind of gives us these days, where you're sitting down and you're watching something, you think, I'm going to sit down and enjoy this. Then over just on the corner, there is Buster Keaton's 5 best stunts, watch right now, and you always wind up clicking that sooner or later. So honestly, I couldn't even tell you what half these stunts I've seen are from, but I really should fix that. What I actually know much better personally is Marx Brothers, which is somewhat contemporary, but clearly later. Marx Brothers is more straight up vaudeville with the plot. But also exceptional what they did.
Thank you, man. I'm writing that. I know of them, but I'm not familiar with their work, so I'm writing.
So for that one, I can give a recommendation. If they've got a best movie, in my book, it's Duck Soup. It's really surreal and kind of out there. Half the jokes make no sense, but the ones that do land pretty well. Lots of musical numbers out of nowhere. It's actually a lot like a Bollywood movie, only I can understand without subtitles, and it's much shorter.
Wow. Okay, so that's on the list. I have this long list of movies to watch that is fairly significant, and a few of them are Justice for Hire centric, and I have a little section I've already shared with Sensei. But so, you know, thank you guys. And is there anything that anyone would like to add that have, or questions that anyone would like to ask? Oh, J. Edward, aka Justice.
You got now that in your head like that, right?
I have to say
I'm Justice. I was gonna say, if you see a lot of the films from before, like Jaws, E.T., there is a reason why those films were such a hit. I mean, even Back to the Future and all this stuff. If you compare the films from before and the ones from now, there is a reason why you like older movies than the ones you see now. And a lot has to do with the rhythm. A lot has to do with the text, the story. And I think that even though nowadays films have people analyzing a script and just an insane amount of things just to get the script semi-approved, okay, or just accepted to be read by a producer. Yet the movies from before, I feel they're way better than the ones right now. So something out there in the middle of the new films and new scripts, something is getting lost, and they're just not as strong as the ones that were made before. That's just my opinion. That's how I feel when I watch a movie. Sometimes they can't even keep my attention. So and I can put E.T. and watch the whole thing all focused, and I've seen it a bunch of times. So I mean, I don't know. There's something in there.
Sure. Actually, what you're talking about is actually fairly specific. And just a quick moment of cinema history. But in the early '90s, Sid Field wrote here's the book, wrote a book that essentially standardized Hollywood screenwriting, and every Hollywood screenwriter and every studio started focusing on the structures that he laid out in that book as the optimized structures for making Hollywood films and Hollywood hits. So since that was written, the pattern of creativity in the Hollywood system has been leaning on that proposed structure. Everything before that structure was actually much more free and much more open. So we've essentially, as a culture, become accustomed to these patterns. And what you're essentially getting as a result of that is glorified fan films. So, and when I say fan films, I don't mean awesome, great fan films. I'm saying that the latest Terminator movie is a fan film. It's not an actual Terminator movie. I'm saying that the latest sequel to your favorite franchise doesn't do the franchise justice. Oftentimes, it's actually a shell of what that original franchise was. Indiana Jones, etc. It's really comes from the patterns that were laid out and standardized in the 90s. So great things happen in the 90s, and also that happened. So what you're saying is very much grounded in historical fact, and we're breaking those patterns together as a community, and we're also leveraging those patterns to make some of our own stuff, and then actually branch off into new things as well. So there's thank you for saying that too, because there's a lot behind what you just said. Sensei?
Yeah, so I was gonna say something else, but you brought up Terminator, and that reminded me of something. So this might or might not be true. I don't know, I wasn't there. But what I've heard about the original Terminator is it came from James Cameron watching Friday the 13th or Halloween, these horror movies that have these inexplicably unstoppable villain. Where back in the day, Friday the 13th, there wasn't the supernatural angle. Just for some reason, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees are unstoppable for reasons that are not explained. So the Terminator, aside from, some influence by Philip K. Dick's writing, was supposedly James Cameron trying to reconcile this nature of this implacable, unstoppable villain with something that made sense in context. Where again, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees in the early movies are just large, strong guys, and no one knows why they're so tough. Where Schwarzenegger's Terminator is an actual superhuman robot. So what I was getting at there is part of why Terminator works in such a weird way is it originally came from not even so much an original concept, but an attempt to reconcile an unexplained fantastical element with something approaching reason. I mean, it's still, a science fiction movie that involves robots and time traveling, so you can't quite call it grounded.
Oh man,
in a weird way. In a weird way, it's more grounded than Friday the 13th, which is supposedly not supernatural for the most part, depending on how far you watch. So where I was going with that is a big difference is these guys like James Cameron, who are now largely famous for just throwing money at the wall than, throwing more money and more money in, because they do have a formula and they do know how to succeed. There was a time when they were very young, creative guys who asked a lot of questions. Spielberg too. I'm not going to make this a whole ramble because there are definitely people like probably J. Edward who are more qualified to talk this stuff than I am. But if you don't know, part of why the original Jaws worked was Spielberg was actually having so much trouble with this robot shark they had to play Jaws. This thing was such a piece of junk that they wound up just shooting around it for almost the entire movie. That's why you barely even see Jaws until the end. Bad, irritating prop that's impossible to use. So these weird circumstances forced Spielberg to essentially invent the blockbuster because he had to develop this kind of ingenuity to work around the technical problem, a bad practical effect. And in today's world, it's so easy to just skip around those things entirely and not have to innovate, largely because I have seen zero budget movies made for literally thousands of dollars, enough for a car payment, that had better effects than Jaws did. But at the same time, there isn't this kind of innovation or creativity that having these limits forced you to have, which is something that's interesting about doing things the way we're doing, because there are definitely some talented professional people around. It's like one you guys probably don't know too well is Somnang. I don't know where Jan met this guy, but he's a very talented and professional. I don't even know what the term would be, because you could call him a cameraman, but that doesn't seem to do him justice. Cameraman, rigger, gaffer.
He's a cinematographer.
There you go, cinematographer. That seems a lot more fair. So he's definitely a very intelligent guy, but just from the little I've worked with him, it's very interesting to see how he plans out and calculates. I've got to have this rig here at 2, then I've got to be across town at 5, and I need this rig. Do I want to go to storage and get this thing? Or do I want to try and just do the whole thing with this equipment? And you see him asking these questions to himself for a half hour, 45 minutes straight, but he always comes out with something good.
I'm hoping we can pull that clip for social for Somnang. He'd love that. And
cheers. He's a good guy.
That he wouldn't even want that, but then he'd be like, "Oh, that's just sweet. That's beautiful words." He's a wonderful guy. So Somnang is the cinematographer of the Justice for Hire series, the Avengers-esque series where we're pulling, where we have the physical shoots and people come to set, and it's a whole thing. So Somnang is a very brilliant, wonderful, very humble, very talented cinematographer. And what cinematographer means versus videographer is videographer you pick up and you shoot. The cinematographer shapes light. They shape light. They know how to control it. And sometimes they don't even touch a camera. But hopefully, wonderfully, Somnang does. So we're really blessed by all the wonderful, talented people in this community, and by you guys. So thank you all for being here. And for contributing. Time is so valuable, and your hearts and minds are so valuable. So for people, when we come together like this, it is. I'm always nervous before we start these things. I'm like, I hope people show up. So it's always wonderful when people come, and I'm so grateful. So we're all grateful, and please reach out. I'm Jan once again. We have AK Wonder, AK Autumn. We have Andra, aka Andra, Sensei Klaus, as I like to say. J Edward, EQ, Guru Merkaba, and Gabriel and Latasha and Jay, everyone who joined. Please feel free to reach out. If you have any questions. You can go right to. I put the link in the description, not in the description. In the chat, justiceforhire.app. So you can feel free to go on there. You could go on your desktop, but it's really built for mobile first. So I recommend going on your phones. and you know, we'll build out the more robust desktop experience over time. So you know, this is what we are, a community where you know, we're building slowly but surely, and increasing all this stuff. We'll eventually do an equity crowdfunding campaign in the coming weeks to actually build out more technology and build out more production capabilities. So you know, we'll let you guys know when that happens, and that's where you know, the community can come together and actually own a piece of what we're doing from a company standpoint. So all that'll happen in time. But you know, this is really about your story and how that story fits into a larger world. And so if you have any questions or thoughts or ideas, we're always here. And messaging us through the app too. You can do that. There's chat in the app. You can ally and rival people in the app right now. It's a huge thing. There's nothing like it on the planet. So go and check it out. And we love you guys so much. And thank you again for your time. And I'm hoping to see all the new folks on here on the app. And you'll the second you join, not the second, but like when you join, you're going to get a personal message from me. I'm like literally, you know, greeting people as they come into the door with typing on here. So like, you know, hopefully we'll continue the conversation there, and we'll see more from you. So thank you guys so much. And if there's anything else anyone else would like to add, otherwise we will call today's session a success and a wrap. All right.
Thank you, Jan.
Let's see. Thank you. Thanks, Ryan, for stopping by too. I'm so happy to have you here too.
Yeah, it's cool to see and hear everyone and see the community and stuff. Is awesome. It's really cool.
Well, thank you.
Just
man.
one quick thing. Remember that all this information can be found online nowadays. You can just go online. If you have questions, just go Google it, and you'll find answers to whatever you questions that you might have. And if you don't find answers, guess what? You can just create it, make it new, and that's it.
If you don't find the answers, just make one up.
Hey, safety first, safety first, safety first.
That's beautiful, man. But yeah, safety first. Yeah, please. Again, with that challenge. That again, just to recap, the Cowboy Challenge is on the app right now, and you can still contribute to that for episode 1. The not challenge, Cowboy Mission 1 over here, which affects the larger story. The Superhero Kung Fu Challenge, we're going to push that deadline to Wednesday, but you can contribute to that through the app right now on the challenges section. And that, you know, the creators from that, some of them will be featured, and content from them will be featured on the Superhero Kung Fu Extravaganza, which airs Thursday at 6 p.m. EST, I believe. So, and that'll be live. That's a live event that'll kick off Comic-Con. So again, a community opportunity. And again, we are here and we're making this together, and we love you guys. So thank you, Justice for Hire.app, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys. Thank you.